Your character is the lifeblood of your story, and it's said that every character has an archetype. But what does that mean exactly? And is it something that you should put that much stock into? In this video, I'll teach you all you need to know about character archetypes and how they can help you, but why I also consider them to be a noob trap. The first question becomes, what are character archetypes? It's safe to think about them as a sort of template that you can alter or build up as you see fit. They come with their own general personality, key issues, plot points, character arcs, and sources of conflict. Depending on who you ask, there are either 12, 16, or even 50, and a lot of them tend to be named after tarot cards like the Lovers, the Magician. They were based on research by the psychologist Carl Jung, so the initial 12 archetypes are called the Jungian archetypes. In his research, he found the same characters coming up over and over again with just a little bit of a reskin kind of thing, and that transcends eras, cultures, and geographical location. It's very safe to think of them as tropes, but specifically for characters. I have a few notes here on a couple of the most common ones so you can see. There's the hero, the person who goes out on a quest and saves people. Now we have the rebel, the person trying to set their own path and live by their own code. A lot of common themes with them are like revolution and change. The jester, the one who's just trying to enjoy themselves and have fun. The caregiver, the person who supports and nurtures. The mentor, also known as the sage. They teach and guide the protagonist. They're wise, probably old, and if they're not, they're at least older than the main character typically. You got the innocent, a sort of plucky, wide-eyed, young, and most likely naive character, and they tend to be optimistic. There's the orphan. It could be literal, could be figurative. They're a survivor, they're unrefined, tough, with underlying securities. The magician, that one is figurative for sure. They want to figure out and understand everything. They're smart, inquisitive, usually aloof and impersonal. And then you got the creator. They need to make something. They're driven, dedicated. It's probably at least a little bit crazy. They're the ones who sacrifice at great personal lengths for their art, creation, or goal. You can think of movies like Whiplash and Black Swan. Next, we have the lover. That's the one that craves intimacy and closeness. They're devoted and passionate to the people they care about. There's the ruler. They lead and they're responsible. They control and they try to cope with the stress of that. And then we got the explorer. They go out to discover themselves and find out who they are. Freedom and self-exploration is for this archetype as much as literal exploration. And on top of that, you've got sub-archetypes. For example, with the hero, there's the anti-hero, the tragic hero, the Byronic hero. You can plug in some archetypes and feel confident that you have characters that are different from each other in your story that also feel reasonably familiar to your audience. Now, to be honest, I've written several books at this point, and I don't think you need to know these 12 archetypes. The only reason I even put them in this video explicitly like this is because when I was new, I felt like it would help me, and I was doing a bunch of research for it, and it was really tough to find the answers. I recommend you barely even pay any of that archetype stuff too much attention, and you just sort of get to writing and you focus. Do notice the fact that I had to read every archetype off of notes that I had already written. I don't even consciously know them, right? Like, sure, if you ask me about a specific one, I'll be able to talk about it for a bit and answer, but I'm not going to be overly in depth with it or anything. I'm not writing essays about it and whatnot. There, everything can be a tool, and tools can also kind of hold you back and limit you at the same time. I think your best use of them is to take some inspiration from them as you're just starting out. Maybe if you're out of ideas, you can pull out a pre-made sort of situation or point or conflict out of this sort of toy box, as it were. But you do want to minimize the amount you do that, because if you're going to be using templates, you're going to end up with a story or a plot or a character that is in and of themselves a template. To their credit, if they get you writing and they increase your confidence, that's good. That's a perfect use of them, and that is productive. And it's also really fun to take it and tweak it and play around with it, right? Just again, I say this in so many videos, don't let it be a shackle. Don't let it take away from your creativity. Have fun, get crazy with it. You're going to have some characters that are like straight up one for one in line with the archetype. That happens, it's like tropes, like I said before. It's kind of unavoidable. Everything's been done for so long that everything has a label, and if you do the opposite of it, that's either considered a common subversion of the label, or it's considered the exact same label, or just something with a different name. And as I said, they brute force that label so much on the archetypes that anything you can do will be considered to be that archetype. The magician could be an actual magician or wizard, a scribe, a scholar, a teacher, any kind of scientist. The creator could be a literal creator or an artist, or it could be an inventor in a sci-fi. You can make great characters by using archetypes, but you really have to be conscious of potentially limiting your own growth and independence. Really make it your own, even while playing within an archetype. I don't hate archetypes by any means. Like I said, they're just straight up unavoidable. But I created one of my best characters, or at least in my opinion, one of my best characters, using an archetype. It's a more obscure one called the Byronic Hero. That is a character that hates wealth, status, and power, and what they stand for, but has all three in abundance. You can think of like a Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights, or Lucifer in Paradise Lost. Archetypes are a tool with a time and a place to be used. You can't let them be a shackle. Your main thing, even if you're planning on doing a 100% representation of a certain archetype, let them be their own character anyways. Give them their own want, their own need, their own backstory. The want should be more surface level, something they'd be more open with sharing. The need should be a little bit more vulnerable and like at the core of the issue. That should be something that somebody might not even be comfortable sharing with their own friend, but it is related to the want, and it's the core of the want that drives it. So you take this character, make them their own person, give them their autonomy, put them in situations that are tough for them or forces them to grow. And even if you start out with an absolute cookie cutter template, your character will come into their own. They will be unique and fun and cool. You don't have to worry about originality. Like, as long as you're not actively plagiarizing or something, just come up with fun stuff that you like and go out there and do it. And even if you use the archetype, you're good. Above all else, get out there, write, and figure out what actually works for you. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe. If you got any questions, get down in the comments section below and let me know.